everyone and welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show you most likely watch because you wanna make sure you didn't miss out on anything surrounding Riot. Well, in reality there is the chance that you may already know everything, and you are watching this just to support me. But regardless, I know you people are lazy to read, so I wanna assure you, today I will show you one or two new things which you didn't know about. So without further ado, let's start with what is happening in League. A few days ago, Riot released the first wave of the Lunar skins. Here we got the demons from the Eastern legends called Shanghai. And as many of you know, these include Cho'Gath, who looks great but is still using his extremely outdated animations, Jhin, who is quite artsy, but who can be boiled down to spreading a lot of fire all around, Nautilus, who just has a lot of fire all around, and Nico, who is supposed to be fighting these demons. Interestingly enough, to celebrate their release, these skins also got a really good cinematic. Like, I know that they just upscaled and polished the low polygon parts of these models, the same way they made the old Swain cinematic, but damn, this looks good. You can tell that these are an upscaled version of the in-game models, because they keep the same skeleton. For example, if you look at Nautilus's breastplate, which is supposed to be solid metal, if you pay close attention to this part here, you can see it flex as if it was organic tissue, and that's simply because that's how the model structure works. But besides this nitpicking, this cinematic is far above what I expected for a simple skin line. Good job, Riot, I would love to see more of these in the future. Also, on top of the cinematic, Riot used a lot of different tiny teaser videos on their social media, and they even released this absolutely gorgeous scroll art. Honestly, I think Riot should have turned this into a limited physical item for their merch store. Still, all of this is just the first wave of the event. The second wave, which is coming at some point during February, includes all the cyberpunky futuristic skins, as well as some nice surprises on top of that. So, let's have a look at these now. First, there is Alistar. Now, he may not look that great in the pictures, but strangely enough, he looks really good in-game, despite his animations being a bit stiff. This could be because the jacket fits him really well, but also because the spell effects are awesome. When it comes down to the lore of this universe, Alistar is the leader of the Ox clan, and the clan is trying to make this year's Lunar Festival flawless. Then there is Lunar Beast Annie, who was chosen by the Ox clan as their tech operative. That's why Tibers is more of a mech here. And because she is part of the Ox clan, that's why she has the horns, just like everyone else. In-game, while the model is just fine, the spell effects are incredibly unique. I really love the style, and Tibers looks amazing. What is great about him is that his model has the glitch filter over him. This makes him look more like a projected hologram. Then there is Lunar Beast Aphelios, who can speak in this universe, but he remains silent because he prefers to pray to the bull god. In fact, he is supposed to be the chosen of the god, and he was sent here to fight this year's Lunar Beast. At first, in-game, he may feel like a red chroma skin of the classic Aphelios, but that all changes when you start using his guns. They all have these glitchy cyberpunky particles, which really make this skin stand out. Then there is Lunar Beast Darius, whom we have seen in TFT for quite some time now. In the universe, Darius is a natural leader, which sometimes causes tension between him and Alistar, who is the actual leader. That's really it. In-game, yes, the glitchy spell effects are great, and yes, the dunking feels good, but I noticed something strange happening with the model. When you look at his axe, you can see that on one side it has a smaller edge closer to the orb, and on the other side you have a big edge with the bull's head. One would say that this would be the main cutting edge. Even in his splash art he's holding the axe with the bull's head facing down. However, in-game, he is holding the axe upside down. For some reason he is cutting with the small edge. I have no idea if this was intended or if this was a mistake when assembling the model, but this is triggering my OCD. Next we have Lunar Beast Jarvan, whose story in this universe is that his father is famous and he's trying to hide it. That's really it. Also, here in the background you can see the Lunar Beast that is ruining the celebrations. That's the beast that the Ox clan are trying to stop. In-game the model is fine, the spell effects are great, but either way most of the attention went into the weapon. It looks amazing, and if you look closer, you may notice it resembles an ox. Also, his ultimate has a really good detail. When it spawns, it shimmers with the glitch effect, showing that it might be just a hologram. And finally, there is Fiora. Similar to her canon lore, in this universe she's trying to reclaim her family's honor. That's why she wants to take down the Lunar Beast. And if you have a look at the background, you may notice Lunar Beast Misfortune, who is not actually coming to League. We'll talk about her later. But in-game, just like the other skins, the model is doing fine job, but it is the spell effects that really bring it to life. And of course, because every event needs a prestige skin, this time Fiora players won the lottery. And as it tends to be the case with prestige skins, not much has changed and her spell effects are champagne pink. That's really the only difference. But here I quickly wanna talk about all the chroma skins all of these are getting. This time it feels like most of the chromas are bashing too many colors into each other. I personally like them more when it is just a combination of two colors that complement each other. For example, I really like the unified blue and white Annie, or the yellow and blue Jarvan. But most of the other chromas are just a blur of non-related colors. So for the future, for me personally, I would like to see more Annies and less Alistars. Anyway, of course, because Viego was already released, his skin is also part of this universe. And connected to that, of course, all of these skins will also have their own icons. There are 2 bonus icons for the Lunar Beast itself, 3 new esports icons, 4 new emotes, and a ward. And don't forget that as always, this event will also have its own loot. Now, even though that is it for the second wave of the event, on PBE, Riot also revealed the next wave of skins that will come after that. And that one are the Crystal Rose skins. At first glance, they may look like a brighter version of the Covenant skins, but in reality, it's a fantasy take on the Debonair skin line. In fact, it feels very similar to one of the skin lines that people could have voted for. Anyway, first we have my main, Swain. As a growing boomer, I like to think of the old days. So personally, I like using Tyrant Swain. That's because none of the other skins really reinforce Swain's fantasy. Well, I'm glad to say that this skin doesn't even need to do that. It looks amazing regardless. Not only is the base model really shiny, but his Qs lay out thorns. W is a magical rose sphere. And whenever he rips someone's soul, the raven is actually a small bird carrying a rose in its beak. When it comes to his ultimate, it is what you would expect. A lot of thorny roses all around, but wait till we get to the chromas. The other Crystal Rose skin is Zyra. This one is much simpler, considering the fact that it is a planty skin for a planty champion. But one thing that really stands out is the fact that her ranged plants are actual roses. No monstrous mouths, no draconic beaks, it is just spitting roses. And it fits perfectly. And in this skin line, the 2 get their opponents. And these would be the Withered Rose skins. Here, the first one is Syndra. Interestingly enough, this universe is all about a group of people who celebrate roses. And Syndra's bio mentioned that she was shunned from these people because she supported Zed. Which to many may seem like a hint that in the future, we may get Withered Rose Zed as well. But I don't think that's the case because you can actually see Zed in her recall. Should Zed get this skin in the future, during Syndra's recall, it would be confusing to see 2 Zeds on the Summoner's Rift. So for practical reasons, I don't see it happening. Anyway, after a lot of bright and comedic skins, Syndra is finally back to her roots in the dark space. It's kinda similar to her base skin, except she's throwing roses around. And that alone actually makes her really cool. When it comes to the other skin, Talon, I don't want this to sound like it is not original, but it kinda feels like the Divine Blade skin. Though this one is much darker, and the stealth overlay on him really pops out. I love the combination of black and the glowing green. Now, as I mentioned, the chromas on these get really good. The Withered Roses are fine. They are mostly unified colors, which give you some decent options. The Crystal Roses have these too. But when it comes to Swain specifically, the chromas change the style of his suit too. So you even have the option to turn Swain into a classic Debonair skin with a black suit. Even though the red details make him look more like a vampire. Which I have nothing against. He still looks very classy. But unless I skipped over something, that should be all the things happening in League. Actually, yesterday one more thing popped up on the internet which we can talk about. MonsterZ on Twitter revealed some skin concepts that appeared on the internet. Apparently these are tied to a survey which Riot sent out. Which means that these are not real skins. Their likely purpose is to scout out what kind of skins people would like to see in the future. So these are really just broad ideas. But regardless, let's have a look at what kind of skins Riot is thinking about. First, here we have some kind of Battle Academia Annie. Then we have someone who kinda resembles futuristic Graves. Then there is some kind of a mix between Xin Zhao and Azir, who kinda resembles the Mecha Kingdom era. Then we have a very creative concept for Ari in Wonderland. Then there is Zombie Slayer Z. And then we have 3 skins which are my favorite. They are from some kind of futuristic cyberpunk universe. And I really love the neon style. Of course, the champions here are Ezreal, Kennen and Urgot. And then the last 2 skins are comedic skins, just like Pizza Delivery Sivir. But here we have Boba Gragas and Popcorn Singed. Of course, these 2 skins are likely scouting out whether people would be interested in more skins based on comedy. But regardless, remember that all of these are just concepts, and they exist just to see what people would like. But now, back to the rest of the video. Obviously, Viego was already released, and with him the Ruin skins too. But the Lunar event is also going to connect with Wild Rift, so let's have a look at what is happening there. Riot noticed that a lot of people wanted a bit more time to complete their missions. So they listened to the player base, and the Yordle event was prolonged till today. Today is the last chance you can get the Yordle icon border. With that said, Riot mentioned that certain events are designed to be tighter around its time schedule. While some events will give you plenty of time to get the rewards, for other events you will have to complete your missions daily. So even though they gave us some extra time for the Yordles, just know that in the future, you will have to work harder to get those exclusive rewards. Also, by now, you'll only have a couple of hours left to finish the Ash challenges for the star icon. Anyway, the reason why I quickly wanted to bring Wild Rift up is because during the Season 2021 video, they revealed that we will be getting the Lunar event here too. And so far, from what they have shown in the video, we know that Wild Rift will also get Lunar Beast Annie, Darius, and the exclusive Miss Fortune. As we mentioned, this skin will only appear in Wild Rift, and it is not planned for League PC. Interestingly, after that, when they said that we should be expecting some returning skin lines, they showed us Star Guardian, which we already got, High Noon, which theoretically might be teasing Thresh, Pentakill, which sounds awesome because we know that Riot may be sneakily working on a new Pentakill album, and Headhunter. And this is a skin line which is definitely tied to what's coming next. Because you see, Riot revealed that for the next event, we will be heading to Targon, where we will fight for the heavens. This makes sense because at the end of the Yordle event, Teemo headed to Targon. So I hope that these 2 events will continue some sort of a timeline. And by fighting for the heavens, I don't think it will be Targon against the Void kinda battle. I think that this is just teasing that Leona and Diana are coming, and the event will be about these 2 fighting. But after that, Riot revealed that 2 most dangerous rivals are coming to Wild Rift, by which they most likely mean Kha'Zix and Rengar, because this would fit in with the Headhunter skin line coming too. Remember that Rengar has a Headhunter skin. Lastly, they also mentioned that we will be getting a bunch of Shadow Isles champions. And this is why I thought that Thresh might be teased as a new champion for Wild Rift. Because now we know that Shadow Isles champions are coming, and that High Noon champions are coming too. If you connect the 2, right in the middle, there are champions like High Noon Thresh or High Noon Hecarim, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was the case. And at the end, of course, we also got this teaser image for the first Wild Rift skin line. From this, it seems to be some kind of Elder Scrolls-like magic setting. But that is it for Wild Rift as well. When it comes to TFT, the new set is ongoing. The new arenas are amazing, and they even have their own soundtrack, which Riot posted on their YouTube. But one thing I don't like this set is the fact that Riot locked some booms, which are the damaging cosmetic particles, behind exclusive paywalls. And I'm not talking about buying them separately for RP. I would be fine with that. In order to get the Wukong Bonk, for example, you need to either buy the entire set of all the little legends for like $150, or you need to buy all of the Shisa's eggs. There is no option to buy the boom separately, and since I don't like the Shisa little legends, I guess I'm not getting it. And lastly, when it comes to the other Riot's games, we kinda skipped over Yoru, the newest agent joining Valorant. Honestly, he is really stylish, and I understand why people immediately picked him up. He has a bouncing flash, he can set up a spot to teleport to if he gets into a sticky situation, and his ultimate makes you feel more like a Predator than Omen, allowing you to tear through realms to jump behind enemies. But for now, that's really it. Before we dive into the final part of this video, let me mention that on Riot's merch store, they released a new jacket with the entire map of Runeterra, and some Void merch, which includes new pins, a Kaisa mousepad, no 3D chest however, and mini Cho'Gath. But now onto the last part, which is the newest Ask Riot. Here we got 3 questions with relatively simple and short answers, so let me TLDR them. The first question was, why are all the skins you make now a line, like Battle Queens, instead of unique ones for each champion? The answer is really simple. For those skins, Riot has put some time into developing the world and the aesthetics, so it would only make sense to use those resources for multiple skins. But the other big reason is that if they give a popular champion a new skin, and then they give a champion with low play rate a similar skin, it actually bumps the unplayed champions up. So they can use this to balance out all the champions. The second question is, what happened to the VGU you announced was going to come after Mundo? The answer is really short. Unfortunately, because of some delays, they had to scrap the visual upgrades that would come after Mundo. Of course, a lot of us were hoping that this would be the Corki update. But now that we know it was scrapped, we know that the one we voted for will come after Mundo. And for the last question, what is one experience with creating or reworking a champion that led to a drastic change in how all champions were handled? Here we got a longer answer which can be summed up as Aatrox. You see, normally when champions were reworked, Riot's goal was to bump up the champion's play rate. But when they reworked Aatrox, they did succeed at that. More players started playing him. But most of these were people who came from playing other champions. Aatrox mains still didn't like the new version, so even though the numbers suggest that Aatrox's rework was a success, it still alienated the core players. So ever since Aatrox's rework, Riot started focusing more on the core of the champion. So what we should take away from this is that unfortunately, Gragas won't change much.